What's poppin', y'all? Welcome back to another episode of Teed Up. You know what time it is. This is March Madness edition. We got all the things you need to know about whatever you need to know to fill out one of these and have a perfect bracket. I do want to say we are not here to tell you who to pick. We're just inform you. So sit back, relax, and let's dive into the March Madness Teed Up edition. Let's go! We now being joined by college basketball enthusiast, college basketball expert, Ryan Hammer. This is a dude who I don't want to say many years ago, but a couple years ago, a couple of fans reached out and was like, you got to do something with Ryan. You got to do something with Ryan. And they were tagging him. And I was kind of lost. I was kind of lost for a second because, like I told Ryan before we started, I thought he was a trainer. I had no idea that he did all of the college basketball stuff. So to the few fans that was reaching out a couple years ago saying I owe y'all an apology, I had no idea what y'all was meant, but I was just kind of like, oh, okay, yeah. But now I see why. Ryan, what's good, bro?
Hey man, I appreciate having me on, and it don't matter how long it takes. We're here, the end. We're at the goal. We're at the end goal. I'm here, so that's what matters.
Listen, man, this is a very busy time. We're here in March. This is your time. What I want to do today, while I have you, I want to pretend that I don't know anything about college basketball. I want to allow you to guide us and answer questions and show us the way. We got a lot of people at home filling these out. I'm erasing and printing out multiple copies, so we need a lot of help. The first thing I want to start off with, though, is some of your favorite top teams.
Sure.
We're going to ease into potential Cinderellas and whatnot, but you know what? Let's dial it back. How about this? Because I saw a lot of controversy on my timeline. Instant reactions to the bracket being revealed yesterday on Selection Sunday. A lot of people made a big fuss about North Carolina getting in there. I want to know your thoughts about that and other things that stood out to you.
Yeah. I expected Carolina to get in. I didn't expect them to get in over Indiana and West Virginia. That was the real surprising part. The Carolina AD is the chairman of the selection committee. He's supposed to recuse himself when they go through the Carolina voting. But like if you're anyone who thinks that he actually stepped out of the room or he didn't have any persuasion is crazy. They probably don't deserve to be in, especially like I said, over a couple of those teams, but shit happens all the time. It kind of it is what it is at this point. But yeah, it was expected. And especially to see another ACC team in Louisville got an 8 seed. Clemson got a 5 seed. Like Louisville should have been probably, if Clemson got a 5, they should have been on the 6, maybe the 7, but putting them on the 8, they got to play Creighton and then Auburn kind of like screws them over and stuff like that. So that was crazy too.
What goes into the decision if you know of a North Carolina being put in over West Virginia, or what makes people say West Virginia should have been in it over a North Carolina?
Yeah, they have like a list and like a written list of certain like criteria and rankings they're supposed to use to put teams in and keep them out and seed them and stuff like that. Obviously they don't abide strictly by that all the time. And they have a thing called the eye test, which is basically just like freedom for them to do whatever they want. They said for West Virginia, their best player has been injured all year, but like he played like 3 games in the beginning of the year or something like that. And they said that because he's not healthy, they gave them a knock when they haven't been playing with him all year since like November. So it's just kind of crazy.
Yeah. If they did have Tucker, they would have been a much better team. I did like West Virginia a lot. How did you feel about the top seeds, the 1 seeds? Was everybody deserving and willing? Was all your 4 top seeds overall?
Yeah, I think everyone in the college community agreed that those were the 4, especially after Florida just like clean through the SEC this weekend. They look ridiculous right now. I think the first 3 1 seeds were pretty locked, but then the last one was up for grabs going into the weekend. But they didn't let that go to chance.
Now we know getting to March is such a big turnaround, right? Like teams climb, teams fall. When the season first started, were there any teams that you expected to be a lot higher or a lot lower? Who were some of those teams that maybe surprised you with their fall off or their climb up looking at the field?
Yeah, UConn is obviously one of them. They fell off real quick and they haven't really been able to find their way back. Same with Kansas and Gonzaga. I think Gonzaga has shown more promise and more upside than the other teams, especially in the last few games. They've been playing their best ball of the year so far in the last few weeks, which is really good. But man, like all three of them, definitely UConn and Kansas, have been so shaky and up and down and hot and cold, and these crazy moments of inconsistency game to game where you just like can't trust them. But they're good. They got good coaching. They're super talented because of those preseason expectations. So the fact that they're all in that 7 and 8 seed range or 7, 8, and 9, that's a problem for the 1 and 2 seeds. Like, you don't want to play UConn in the second round if you're Florida. Yeah. You don't want to play Gonzaga if you're Houston. Like, it's not fun. So
when you're filling out your bracket and you see a team like UConn at 8, how much does that affect your decision making? Like, because I realize there's this history of a team and what they do. Like, for example, we can talk about it. How many Sweet 16s has Mark Few and Gonzaga made consecutively? What is it?
I think it's 10 in a row now or something like that. It's crazy.
Right. So exactly. So we got 10 Sweet 16s in a row. When you're filling out your bracket, and the reason I'm asking this is for my people at home. They're going to watch this and they're going to use this stuff that you're saying to fill out their bracket. How much of that do you consider compared to just a 2025 version of Gonzaga? Does that matter enough for you to use that as far as picking a team over another team? Because they're going to be playing against some teams that are, as far as this year, on par with them.
Yeah. It's tough. It's hard not to, right? Especially for the people watching that might be more casual fans and like they're not like diehards for the college game. Like, it is tough to go against teams like that. And I think for Gonzaga, at least, they have basically their entire roster from last year and a couple of them from before that. So I think that holds value when you have a team that returns a lot of guys, that has a lot of like roster continuity. Because like I said, like they were there last year. Like Ryan Nembhard has been there for a couple of years now. Like he's part of the Sweet 16 teams beforehand, where it's not like everybody's new. But push that aside, it's hard to not consider that, especially with the coaches, because coaching experience does have some validity and value to it. Like, I think anyone would agree on that, but there's historical proof on that too. Like, you kind of need at least like floor of good coaching to succeed. And a lot of the times you see like those legendary coaches just exceed expectations all the time. So
do you have a favorite team? Do you have a favorite college team? Not who you picked as a champion. We're gonna get to that. But
okay, I'm a Maryland fan. A lot of people know that more this year because they've been very good. But before that, no one knew. But I grew up a Maryland fan.
How did you become a Maryland fan?
So my oldest brother, we were talking before the show, I mentioned him. He's 8 years older than I am. So when we're from Jersey, he went to Maryland for school when I guess that means I was like 10 and 11. And I was not even middle school, and I was going to visit him at school, and he would take me to Maryland ACC games. So it'd be like Grievous Vasquez versus Duke and Carolina. And that's what I'm saying. Like those games at the same time, Jimmer and Steph were in college. So like it was perfect that college basketball was the thing, and Maryland was good. Grievous and the ACC were fun. So like I was all about it.
Man, I love How old are you?
I'm 27, turning 28 soon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Do you remember the Maryland teams that had Dixon, Steve Francis, or was that before your time a little bit?
It's a little before, but like vaguely. It's before though, to be completely honest. Yeah, it's tough.
Okay, yeah. Because I try to tell the people that watch the show all the time or are familiar with what I do. Like, I love the NBA. It's obviously my main job and my main focus. But it's just something about college basketball. When the college basketball gets you when you're young, and it makes sense now to know that your brother went to Maryland. He caught you up in that world, and to see where you at now, it all makes sense. But when you get pulled into that world, bro, it's nothing like it. It's just so, I can't explain it. It's just so, it's intense. The different styles, the talent, so many different talents. That's kind of the next thing I want to get into. What are some of the teams that have the most intriguing, unique styles, whether it's defensively, offensively, lineup, a 6'9" point guard? Are there any teams on this bracket that people must know as far as uniqueness to tune into for the first round?
Yeah, there's definitely a few. A lot of teams have kind of found their niche and like what makes them special to make runs and stuff. One of the teams that is becoming very popular is UC San Diego out of the Big West. They're a 12 seed. They're so much fun to watch. They don't really have a big, like they play guys that are 6'6", 6'7", going at actual centers and stuff like that. But they're long in the backcourt. So where they're not big in the front court, they don't let the entry balls come in A lot of high pressure on the perimeter. They force a ton of turnovers, a lot of steals, and they can shoot the lights out. They're exciting. Like the vibes are there. There's definitely not a team like them in the entire country, and that's why they've been so good this year. I'm interested to see them against Michigan, and hopefully after that, because the matchup is pretty good. But they're a super, super fun team, and it's only their first year that they're even eligible to make the tournament because it's their 5th year as a D1 program, so it's fun.
And so you said hopefully see them going further. So you have them beating Michigan?
I probably will. Michigan turns the ball over like crazy. Michigan does have 2 7-footers that are awesome, but they play them on the perimeter a lot, and I think it's going to be a problem for them. And I think I'll probably take UC San Diego because the opportunity is too good. I will happily be wrong choosing that game because the matchup is so good for them if it ends up being Michigan. But like I said, hopefully we get to see them again. They're just so much fun. So
I'm right with you. That was one of the first things that I picked on when I saw this bracket being unveiled on Selection Sunday. Again, I like the unique. Speaking of uniqueness, Danny Wolf and Golden being able to play pick and roll with each other and everything like that. They had a really good Big Ten tournament. But for them to turn the ball over as much as they do, I think just plays too much into what UC San Diego want to do. I am a big fan of teams. I don't know how you feel. You can speak on it. I love teams. When we talk about upsets and Cinderellas and different things like that, I love when you have a guy. I think you have to have a style. You have to be able to cause turnovers. Got to be able to shoot the free throw. But you also have to have a guy. And I just think Tate Jones is one of those guys. I use a hashtag TourneyMade. I think he's a guy that on that stage, he can be one of those, NCAA folk heroes. I personally love Tate Jones a lot. I'll let you tell us if you have a guy or a few of those guys that you see can be hashtag TourneyMade.
No, I like that TourneyMade. I didn't see that, but I might have to show you some love on that on Twitter and stuff. That's a good one, and it's true, right? Because like to your point, like you see guys that pop up out of nowhere. Like last year was like Jack Golke and DJ Burns. Like Golke was like no one was really on him at all, but those guys come out of nowhere, and he was good. Aniwa was crazy. He's wild. Like his style, he does not shoot from the perimeter. But he's good. They got some other guys too on that team. This kid Hayden Gray on that same team. He leads the country in steals. He's like a top 10 finalist for National Depoy Award. And he can shoot the lights out too. He looks like a lax bro. He's got like the modern haircut that the youngins are wearing and stuff like that. But he's nice. They always say like there's a random white boy in March all the time, and he's probably that dude.
Yes. But he leads the country in steals, you said?
Yeah, it's like 3.5 a game or something like that. He's crazy. Pickpockets. Oh, wow. He's sneaking up on you all the time. On the perimeter is wild.
Wow, I had no idea that he led. Wow, that's what we have you here for. Exactly. Any other upset? Like let's get into it. So
sure. First
and foremost, for you, it doesn't have to be. I know you're big on your facts, which is why I've been a fan ever since I tapped into the work. You even had a video that you posted earlier today that we're gonna get into, where you was like, hey, it's not my opinion. It's just going off the facts. What do you look for when you're thinking about upsets or Cinderella? What recipes are you looking for in a team to see if they can make a run?
Yeah, it's tough because like you said, like I'm a huge proponent of like stats and facts and data and history because like it has actual value and stuff. But I'm a fan first. So like I pick with my heart way too often. I do it all the time. I'm still going to do it because it's more fun. Like I'm not going to win my bracket groups. I'm not going to do it. So I'm going to have fun picking my bracket at least and hope for the best and stuff like that. But realistically, I look for teams that have something special and almost like an outlier. You kind of mentioned it before, like something unique about them. And UC San Diego is a good example, but something that sets them apart that the favorites, the high seeded teams are not seeing throughout the year, right? So like styles or certain players or certain looks and schemes, whatever that is, that they're going to be like, what in the world is going on the second they step on the floor in their tournament game? There's no people ask like, oh, do you look for like shooting or turnovers? Like, sure. Like I think turnover margin is super good. It makes the game easier to win. If you can shoot it, that's great. If you can defend the three, that's even better. But it depends on the matchup, right? Because you might be playing against like Michigan State, who doesn't shoot the 3, and then you don't need to defend the 3 that well. So it's like kind of give and take and stuff like that in terms of like a perfect recipe.
Now, with all of that being said, how many of these teams are you really considering? Because I've seen people speak, especially Selection Sunday. There was a lot of reactions. Oh, this could be upset. Yeah, every seed could be upset. I just did an interview. I think I forgot how long ago it was, but it came out last week with Ty Jerome. And historically, his team lost to a 16 seed. So once that happened, we know anything is possible. But what are the legitimate ones that you are really, really considering picking? I know you're like me. We're doing this on a Monday right now. The bracket ain't got to be done until a couple of days, so we probably going to be going back and forth after this video comes out. I do want to say that to the people at home. We are loosely speaking because a lot can change from now. There's guys that are like, what is the status of Grant Nelson? And what about Tyrese Hunter at Memphis? So it's a lot of things that could change how we feel. But what are some of these under the radar, or maybe not even under the radar? I think with the internet now and guys like yourself with the platform you've been able to create, you allow the average fans to not be too out of the loop. But what underrated teams or lower seeds are you really, really high on?
Yeah, I like High Point a lot. They're super, super fun. You're in. You're already in then.
I got High Point right here. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'll probably stick with that one. It's another one of those ones where like Purdue's been playing very bad, probably their worst ball of the year, which is a massive factor. Like it's not 2 or 3 games. It's been like 7 or 8 games like that. They've lost majority of them coming in. High Point's been playing their best ball of the year. They've got depth. They can run the floor. They can make the game chaotic. They can battle inside, and Purdue's not that big at all, which is good. And I like their matchup a lot against Purdue for sure, as at 13 against 4. And to your point, like people know about High Point because of the platforms that some people have now and stuff. And but that's a good thing. Like people are saying, oh, everyone's going to pick High Point. Everyone's going to pick everybody apparently, because you could choose a 14 or 15 and people are like, yeah, no, everybody talking about them. Like, what do you want me to do? Like not pick any upsets? Like, come on.
No, I feel you. That's like the downside of the social media thing, because it's like, yeah, everybody's doing everything, but you're right. Everybody's going. I legitimately seen, I forget who it was. I wish I could speak on who was speaking, but it was like a panel, and I saw like 2 guys split, and it was like, hey, High Point, and then the other 2 guys was like, hey, I like High Point, but I would not be surprised if Purdue just wins the game. Like it is Purdue, so. Yeah, everybody, this is what it's all about. The thing that people have to understand, though, is when you watch college basketball as much as you or as much as myself, you can anticipate. We know that, like, there is going to be one of these teams that's going to come out and create some havoc or whatnot. So I don't understand that logic from most people either. What about, this is not necessarily an upset, but this is one that was very, very tough for me. And I'll probably take, I don't want to say I'll take to the wire. I think I'm kind of cemented on it. But BYU VCU, this is to me one of the hardest or the closest first round games that I personally saw when trying to figure out the first round. I'm kind of first round in, but I have not committed to anything outside of the first round. But I do have VCU beating BYU because I just think that they're so tough defensively, but I understand what BYU can do because I'm a big fan of Egor and everything that they've got going on. Or Jaeger. Let me say his name right. Jaeger. Who you got in that matchup?
That one's tough. That whole pod is tough. It's like it's them 2, and then Wisconsin, Montana. I would anticipate Wisconsin winning, but they like BYU and Wisconsin both offensive. They like to shoot it, like to spread it. And VC, like the thing about VCU, BYU, I'm torn. That's my answer. I'm probably going to go VCU because of the opportunity for an upset. I'm not going to turn that down. BYU shoots the ball so well. They shoot it a lot. VCU defends the 3 so well. But when they lose games, VCU, it's because teams light it up on them. But when BYU loses games, it's because teams defend the 3 so well. So I'm like, damn, like which one's going to give? And like, it's hard to figure out. So maybe we go back and look at more, but I'm with you on VCU for the most part, I think.
Another one that I've been seeing have a lot of conversation, and I'm gonna go there. I know we aren't gonna have upsets, but I also try to dial it back. I try to make sure I don't have too many. But man, Yale versus Texas A&M, I'm feeling Yale. Ryan. How you feeling about that matchup?
I don't disagree. A&M's athletic. They can defend really well, which could be a problem, but they play like hectic, they play hectic and reckless, not kind of. It's hectic and reckless, and that's what they're comfortable doing. But that's good as an underdog. And I think Yale is the exact opposite, where they're very calculated. not just because they're an Ivy school, but they are very smart and intelligent the way they play in their style. But they let the other team lose the game before they win a game. Like, they will sit back, they do their thing, they're smart, they won't turn it over as much as they can, and they're going to let you make mistakes. And Texas A&M is going to make mistakes. Wade Taylor can go off, and Zurich Phelps, like, they could score 30 on any given night, but it's very rare. Like, Wade's been shooting like under 40% from the field for the entire season. So, like, I take my chances with a Yale team where there's such contrasting styles, and they got tourney experience after the win last year. So
this is one of those things where I'm like, as a college coach and a college team, like a Texas A&M, you kind of feel good. You get the quote unquote 4 seed, but then you play against a team like Yale that kind of, it's like a match made in hell, because Texas A&M doesn't shoot the 3-ball well. Yale wants to, gap you up and force you to shoot the threes. And that's ultimately why I'm going with Yale. They also got a guy from Illinois that I'm sure, is super familiar with. They had 2 Illinois boys last year when they had Danny Wolf. I'm always rattled with my Illinois guys. How do you feel about Lipscomb? I'm not picking them, but when I dove into them, I'm not a guy that acts like I watched all of these teams, but I do my research.
Yeah.
I was kind of impressed. I was impressed with the with the breakdown of Lipscomb, man. How you feeling about them?
No, they're kind of nice. Iowa State, they got a few like go-to players. Their best he's their best defensive guard. They have a trio of 3 guards. One of them is done for the tournament, Keyshawn Gilbert. He'd be scoring like 17 and 4 or something like that. But awesome player. Their offense should still be fine. Lipscomb can light it up. They can shoot it, and Iowa State's defense has had a lot of holes in it, more than the usual Iowa State defense. I like Iowa State a lot, but like I said, Lipscomb can shoot it. They got like Nosovich, who scores like 20 a game, and this kid Joe Anderson. He was wearing like a big T-shirt and like a big elbow brace, and he was putting up 25 a game in the conference tournament. It was the A-Sun, but like he was still going crazy. And like he's one of those guys where people are going to be like, who in the world is Joe Anderson? And then he goes off and he wins a game or 2, and then you're like, okay, there he is.
Joe Anderson. I'm gonna write this down.
Yeah,
I gotta take my notes, man. I gotta get my information while I can. Another team that I'm taking, like, I'm gonna just come out and say it. Drake. I got Drake over Missouri. I know my producer Christian. He's been high on Missouri. He's probably gonna be like, trust me. I'm taking Drake. I again, like you said, I'm committed to not winning my bracket challenges, anything like that. I'll probably lose. But Drake they have it for me. They have it. They got a guy, #TourneyMade. And I just like this matchup a lot for them. Don't get me wrong, Missouri, I would sleep on them. A couple of teams I would sleep on for majority of the season. Louisville, I was extremely slept on. I won't lie. Missouri took me a while to wake up. My producer Christian put me on Texas Tech. Those are about the 3 ones that I just kind of, and Florida, I won't lie. Florida they blew me away with how good they are. So now that I'm awakened on how good these teams are, I don't want to pick against them, but Drake just seems too good for me in this matchup. How you feeling about that one?
Yeah, well, shout out Christian. He's tapped in heavy. I know that for sure.
Yes.
Missouri Drake is tough. I'm actually 50-50 on it. I'm not sure I'm going yet. I do agree. Bennett Sturts, that's the dude there. He's beyond tourney made. He's league made. He is everything made. He's that dude. He's awesome. Their system is good. They're just such polar opposite teams. Like Drake wants to play so slow, chew up the shot clock on both ends and force you into bad looks. And Missouri, they go deep into the bench and they just want to run and gun. So like, I'm just trying to think in theory, like, how does that game go? Like, how does that style of game go? Because in one sense, you can see Drake forcing Missouri to be uncomfortable, but then you could see Missouri open the game up and force Drake to keep up if they get hot early. I got to look more into that. I'm so torn on that one. It does help that I love Texas Tech, so I will have Texas Tech coming out of there. So it's like, great. I don't care as much who I pick there because I'm not going to pick them to win another game. But like, if Drake wins one game, they beat Missouri, they beat that kind of style of team. I don't know. They might win a couple more. So
it's definitely possible. I'm really looking at them. What about these outside games? We're figuring out who's in and who's not. We don't have to talk about Alabama State, St. Francis. No disrespect to them. San Diego, North Carolina, man. We could say we won about North Carolina, but when they are playing good, they look like a tournament team. I understand the other half of it, which is why they've been so controversial in making it. But San Diego State, who you got in that matchup? How do you feel about that? We also got Texas Xavier as well. Thoughts, opinions. Like I'm going back and forth on a lot of these. I'm a big San Diego State fan. I love Miles Bird, so
Yeah.
I'm biased to them. I'm hoping that they win that game. And then Texas Xavier, because of the NBA draft stuff, I would love to see Trey Johnson get inside the tournament. But I like Xavier. I like Mount. What's the big fella name?
Fremantle.
I almost called him Mount Castle. I've been playing MLB The Show. Fremantle. And I like the guard. What's his name too? The one that can score.
Ryan Conwell. He's crazy.
He's
crazy. Yeah, I'm with you on that in a sense. Like, I am an NBA guy too. People don't like realize that, especially draft stuff. Trey Johnson is the truth. He is the literal truth of a pure scorer. I have never seen a pure scorer this good, this efficient, this smooth, and playing on such high usage on like a quote unquote worst team or bad team. Like, he is crazy. I agree. I would love to see him in the tournament, but I like Xavier a lot. They've been playing really well, and I think they could be dangerous and win a couple of games if they get in. And to your point about Carolina, like San Diego State's got a couple of injuries, and Carolina, people don't realize they've been playing much better lately, and they've been playing with like a little different intensity just because they lost that game to Duke off a lane violation and whatnot. Like, it is what it is, and whether they deserve to be here or not, it's irrelevant at this point. Because if I had to choose one, I would say Carolina's going to win, and I would take them to beat Ole Miss also, to be honest.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Okay. What's the deal with Ole Miss? They're kind of funky to me. I respect them. They had some decent wins, but I don't know what to make out of them with my guy Padula and Padula from with that Virginia Tech, and then Morrell. Outside of that, I'm just kind of lost on Ole Miss personally.
Yeah, they've been kind of inconsistent, and they've been playing worse lately too. I don't think they have like any like blisteringly good strengths. They're good on the turnover margin and whatnot, but they're not like amazingly good at a couple of things, in my opinion, at least when I watch them. And I'm like, okay, they're very exploitable, and they're playing their worst ball of the season for the most part. So again, going into with things on the decline for the last few weeks, like that's not ideal when you're getting a team that, like maybe Carolina, for example, that's on the incline, and also they get to play a game, get a win under their belt, and then come and play ready to keep rolling. So I don't love that for them.
Are there any middle of the pack teams that you just like love? I know a lot of people are high on Clemson. I was late on them as well. I really like Clemson myself. Then you also have, I'm looking around. You have Wisconsin and their offense that's been super, super dope. Who else do we have up in here? You have,
hey man, call me biased. Yeah, call me biased. I know Maryland is built for March. I know they are. They don't have a great draw.
Talk your talk, brother.
Yeah, I'll do that because I do a good job. I know I do at being unbiased and impartial, but I will talk about my team if I have to when I'm fully confident. I've been doing that for a while. Like the Crab 5 is legit. I don't know if you know the Crab 5.
Yes,
they're awesome. They are built for the tournament. GCU and then Memphis, Colorado State, and then Florida or UConn or something is not ideal. I ain't gonna lie. I'm not gonna hold you on that one. But I still think Maryland's built for March. They're the way they play, the system they play, every game they lose is on a buzzer beater or by 2. Like it's almost like unlucky to a point where they're due for a good run. I could see them going to the Final Four 100%, but it's going to be a really, really, really tough path. So.
Who would you prefer to play as a Maryland fan, Memphis or Colorado State?
Without a doubt, Memphis. Colorado State's hotter. Memphis has a couple injury issues, and they're reckless. And Maryland would thrive against a team that's reckless. They would not thrive against a disciplined team. So I 100% Memphis.
You big on Nick Clifford?
Yeah, he's nice. He's been on the draft radar scene for a while too.
For a while, yeah.
Yeah, he deserves his chance too, and he's been good. He does everything. There's very few guys in the tournament and in the country that do as much as he does in terms of versatility and stuff like that on the college level and even for draft perspective, I guess, too. But he's nice. He's a problem. So I would rather not play him.
Yeah, I feel you on that. I saw that in the little tournament run he had. He was averaging like 20, 10, and 5. Like
crazy.
Legitimate Swiss Army knife. What about those guys? Out of all we talked about a few, do you have any off the top of your head # TourneyMade guys that people need to, be in tune with, not even for an upset, but just for a good game. That's all we want as basketball fans at the end of the day. The upsets are dope, but it's nothing like seeing, even if they lose, a guy come out of nowhere and give his team a chance. Any of those guys that we haven't spoke about?
Yeah, people are high on Liberty for a good reason. Liberty Oregon's gonna be a good game, but Jackson Shellstat is that boy right there. He's been like
Yes.
that. He had a slower start to the year, but he is built for tournament settings. I firmly believe that. He's clutch. He's confident. He's all about that life, and especially if Duke is not healthy, if they can get out of the first weekend, Oregon, I think they're a team. There's always like a 3, 4, 5, 6 seed that no one talks about. Last year it was Clemson.
Exactly.
I was on New Mexico. Everybody was like. And then they just come out and they get to the Elite Eight. Alabama got to the Final Four. Like, I don't know if Oregon's that team yet. I'm not there yet, but Jackson Shellstat is definitely TourneyMade. And my boy Curtis Jones over to Iowa State. I'm tight with him. This is unbiased because he is a microwave scorer, combo guard. He can do it on all levels. And he's going to have to even more with Keyshawn Gilbert out. So I think he's built for it also.
Wow. Okay. I had no idea my boy Jackson Shellstat was going to get some love. That's my guy.
He's nice.
I really love the way he plays.
Yep.
I think he can go to the NBA. I really do.
100%. Yeah. He's following that Peyton Pritchard step. So.
Yes. Oh, I like that. Yeah. Anything else as far as the bracket that we haven't spoke about, or anything that's catching your eye that you really want to voice an opinion on or wake people up? You've given me a lot of shit. One more. I'm gonna ask you this.
Yeah.
And I'm just asking your opinion because I know you don't have your pick solidified. One that's been tough for me, and I keep going back and forth. Like, this bracket says Marquette. I'm pretty sure my phone bracket says New Mexico. Yeah, this one says New Mexico. So both of these papers have different answers. What are you thinking on that one? I know Shaka Smart is not a good guy to bet against around this time, but New Mexico, they just have this dog in them, and I love that they have their own guy, Donovan Dent. I like this team, man. I don't know, but I love Cam Jones as well. Help me figure this one out.
I can't. I'm so torn on that one, and I don't know who I'm going to take out of that entire thing. Like, I think Michigan State's really good. And I might take them. I might take New Mexico. I might take Marquette to the Sweet 16. I have no idea. They both have go-to guys. I like that. Marquette is really good at not turning the ball over. And New Mexico is the number 1 team in the country at taking turnovers, or number 2, and scoring on the other end and just running the floor in transition. So, I don't love that. But at the same time, they're going to be able, New Mexico, to dog Marquette in the paint. So I go back and forth a little bit. Donovan Dent, definitely TourneyMade. Cam Jones is definitely TourneyMade. That's a really, really tough game. I was pressed when they were going through the bracket, the first region. I literally sat there. They said Marquette. I said, don't be New Mexico. Don't be New Mexico. Be Utah State or somebody else. Right. And then I was like, oh, my God.
What about Utah State? Utah State and UCLA. That's another one where I'm just like, I'm not as familiar because, UCLA, I don't know. I just thought that the last couple of years they'd be a little bit better. I know they are in a tough conference. I do want to cut them some slack. I love Mick Cronin and everything he was saying earlier about the entitlement that comes with the game. They have turned it up as of I don't want to say as of late, but they're a lot better than what I thought that they would be. Yeah. They're just kind of, I guess they're not what I thought they were going to be. I thought Morrow would be a lot more featured. I thought he would be a bigger and better player for them. It's really been Eric Daly.
And Sebastian Mack a little bit, and a couple of their guys, and Tyler Bilodeau, but they're very underwhelming offensively, and Utah State's kind of the opposite. I'm not really sure. It's one of those games where it doesn't matter to me because I don't see Tennessee losing to Wofford, and I don't see Tennessee losing to either of those teams because they're just bigger and physical, and they're going to be able to run them off the 3 line and just absolutely dismantle them in the paint. So I go back and forth a little bit. I probably go UCLA because I think they'll be able to defend the 3 really well. And the Mountain West teams tend to not do great in the NCAA tournament. I have learned that the hard way over a couple of years. So
that's tough, man. That's tough. We did have San Diego State that one year.
Yeah, that's true. I guess we can take some credit there, but every other year, like New Mexico last year, Colorado State was a 6 seed a few years ago, and all these teams, I'm like, it's painful. So if you're ever in doubt, you can just say, you know what, the Mountain West teams tend to not do great. So
I like that philosophy because I was high on that. That's when Nick Clifford first got on my radar.
Yeah.
The last couple things that I asked you, and this is going to be very tough when I'm putting you on the hot seat a little bit.
It's all good. Yeah.
What top seeds either a 1 seed or a 2 seed or one from both seeding is prime. If you had to pick one from each, prime to be upsetted. I know this is very tough.
It's all
I
good.
filled out my bracket yesterday and I threw that one in the garbage because it was too good. It was not enough K. I'm like, there's no way every side has
Yeah.
a 1-2 involved. Like, there's no way something is going to happen. But this year, the top teams are just. It's hard to find a flaw. I'm looking at Auburn. I would love for Auburn to lose. I have, you know what I mean, just for the sake of it. I would love
Yeah.
for my only team that I'm just like in love with. I'm a big Nate Oates guy. Like, that's how I follow teams. I love coaches. Penny Hardaway is one of my favorite players, so I like Memphis. Just because of that. But I love Alabama because I love me some Nate Oates. Everybody else I could care less about. Houston, I used to be like, oh, Houston. But Christian made a good point. Like, when I talked to him a couple weeks ago, he was like, man, Pete, like Houston, they're really good. And I'm like, they always good, but they don't ever go over the hump. And he's like, all it takes is the 1 year for you to get over the hump. And I'm like, you know what, Christian, you're right. They're shooting a three. They're a lot better offensively. They're still the dogs defensively. But what do you think and what do you feel if you had to pick any of these top dogs that could go down? And it doesn't have to be a first round upset, but either a first
Yeah.
or second round upset.
Yeah, I think Michigan State, because of their inability, because of their draw too. I talked about how like Marquette and New Mexico are good. I don't think they're going to lose first round, but Bryant is probably the 115 seed. If I had to consider one, it'd be them. They're big, they're physical, they can battle with Michigan State, and Michigan State is not they're not a shooting team. We know that, and their offense is kind of limited. I don't think Michigan State's going to lose that game. I think they should be fine and win easily, but the fact that I think that could be an issue, and then the second round could be an issue too, and their inability to shoot the three, and some historical stats are against them too. Like, I would say Michigan State, and I love Houston. Let me say I agree with Christian for the most part. I'm a Houston truther. You like coaches too. I love Kelvin Sampson. What he is able to do he does so much more with so much less than everybody else, and that is ridiculous to me. The system they have in place, the defense is crazy. But I love Gonzaga. I don't know who I'm going to take there. And obviously Gonzaga's got to be Georgia, who's been playing decently also. But those are two teams that I love. I think whoever wins that game is a Final Four team, in my opinion, in that second round. So it's really tough because they're different, but two awesome teams. In Houston, I love them, and they could win a national championship for all I know, but they could lose second round. So.
And then the last thing I want to bring up before I let you get up out of here and get back to figuring your bracket out. Can you speak about the video that I saw like a reel today on Instagram, and you talked about, again, it's not your opinion, it's just off the history and the facts that showed the different teams that like are primed to potentially make a run. I think Houston was a part of that. Gonzaga, there was a few others. Can you talk about that a little bit just to educate some of the fans that'll be watching and give them one more little gem that they can take when filling out their bracket?
Yeah, I do every year because people eat that up. They love that video, and I think it's worth something. It just uses historical facts, right? Like, no whatever seed has done this. No coach with less than X years experience have won the title, and it uses everything possible that history has shown us in the last 20 and even further years for some of them to basically say these are the whatever 5 teams that can win the national championship. Usually it's less teams than it is this year. It just kind of is what it is, but it's Auburn, Tennessee, Alabama, Duke, Florida, and Iowa State in tier 1, and then Gonzaga, Houston, Kansas, Marquette, Oregon, Wisconsin, Arizona, and Texas Tech in tier 2. Like I said, usually not that many teams in the second tier, but 6 teams in tier 1. One of them's got a major injury, so there's 5 teams that are the most primed to win. So
that's some good shit. I love shit like that personally. Cool. That leads me into another one. Arizona, Akron. I'm not familiar with Akron this year. I know last year I was big on them because they had Enrique Freeman. But I saw when Selection Sunday was happening, the guys were up there speaking about Akron pretty highly, and they were saying that this could be something. I personally like Arizona. I like the way that they played. I like their freshman, Carter Bryant. I think they have everybody's kind of polarizing on how they feel about some of the guards that they have. Obviously, I like Jaden Bradley. He came from Alabama, Nate Oates. I know Caleb Love. People either love him or they don't. How are you looking at this matchup, and what can you tell us about Akron?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you this. I love Akron. Before, like, I'm tapped in with their program well. I like them a lot, but especially before the selection. Don't love their draw, but Akron, there's 364 teams in the country. They are the 364th team in the country in terms of size. They are so small in their rotation. They got one guy who's 6'7", and then everybody else are like true guards. They just run the floor and shoot like crazy. Everybody that goes on the floor, except for the 1'6'7" guy who's like their small ball five, everybody shoots threes. Everybody shoots at least 2 threes a game. A couple of them will shoot even more. So they're all about depth and just trying to run you out the gym. So I love them. And we talked about like outliers and being different. I think they're super different. And that's a team that Arizona or someone sees and they're like, we have no idea what's going on. Obviously they can game plan and scout and they know what's going on. But I also don't love the matchup for Akron because we've seen Arizona put up a buck ton of points. We know that they can defend pretty well in the backcourt and stuff like that. And they have size and athleticism, like you were talking about with Carter and like Owaka and stuff like that. So I don't love the matchup for Akron, but I love the team in Akron. So
does Akron have a standout guy, or is it a team committee?
It's mostly team, but they have this guy, Nate Johnson. He scores like 13, probably 5 assists. He was the conference player of the year and also the defensive player of the year. So he's nice. He can give you 20-25 easily, but he's not always good for 20-25.
I had to take my notes on that.
Yeah.
Shout out to
This ain't a podcast. This is a personal session. That's what that is.
Hey, yeah, that's exactly what it is. I just tricked everybody. I told them I don't care about winning my challenge. Psych. I got the legend with me. I'm about to win these tournament challenges. No, I'm just joking. Ryan, I appreciate you, man. We definitely got to have you back. I'm gonna tell Christian we got to figure something out. Maybe in the middle of the tournament, maybe we get to a certain point and we come back and we talk about the different results or see how busted our brackets are. I had no idea you were a NBA guy either.
Oh, yeah. Definitely
probably got to have you back in the summer and talk some NBA draft stuff, and hopefully link up in the future in real life. Get something to eat with Eric or something. I'll bring my guy D Mills. He's a foodie as well, and we'll eat and talk basketball, man. I really do appreciate you taking time out. I know, again, March is a busy time for you, and this is going to go a long way for my viewers, man.
No, it's all good. I really appreciate having me. It's awesome. It's good for us to first connect. I know it ain't the last time. It's definitely chicken Caesar wrap review. I'll make sure Eric knows. But yeah, it's good. I love what y'all do. I love what you're up to right now with Teed Up. So it's a blessing to be here.
Before you dip, let everybody know where they can find you.
Listen, social media, Ryan Hammer 9 or 09. You search my name, you're gonna find it.
Ryan Hammer, y'all.
Yeah.
Again, he not here telling y'all what to do. He just giving y'all information. I don't want y'all coming at my guys saying,
"Yeah, again,
let's take New Mexico."
Say it again. They be coming after my neck way too much.
I'm already knowing. I did a couple YouTube videos in the last, 3 or 4 years, and man, as many times as I can say, I say, hey, these are just my picks, but I still get a boatload of comments. I was like, man, P, you told us VCU was gonna beat BYU. What happened? No, I appreciate you though, bro. We'll definitely have you back and do this some more. And again, I hope your bracket turns out to be the first perfect one ever. But y'all make sure y'all tap in on Ryan Hammer, and he'll be back soon. All right, now joining me is my dog, Christian. Y'all know this is his field of work. He loves college basketball. I do want to make one thing clear, and that's just advice to everybody at home. Fill out your own bracket. Okay? That's the fun of this, is filling out your own bracket. Take pride in it. Me and Christian talked a couple days ago, and he was like, oh, if you need help right there, I'll help you decide. No, I'm making my own damn bracket. We will have discourse about certain matches and different things because, again, Christian is the college basketball guru. But I want everybody to know, don't follow anything that we're saying on here unless it's actually your pick. Don't let me influence nothing you're doing because my shit will not be perfect. But anyway, let's start this off, Christian. I'm glad you already got Auburn. We don't need to waste no time. I got Auburn there.
Yeah, we don't need to waste any time. What's so fun to me about this week, Pierre, is as I'm listening to you and Ryan, I changed like 3 things in my bracket.
Really?
And they were self-guided thoughts sparked by things that you guys said, So
well, when we get to those, make sure you bring up what matchups those were.
Sure. Sometimes I wake up in the morning and I go, why have I had St. Mary's all week? I got to get Vanderbilt. But that's just what's
I
beautiful.
feel you. I feel you. That's what I love about. Yeah, I'm right with you. I didn't have that. I've had Vandy losing every day. Every day I've woke up since this bracket came out. But there are some matchups like that. I'm gonna tag you in right now. Louisville Creighton. I'm not gonna lie. I was sleep on Louisville for a very long time. I do have them winning. You can click on them. But I want to know your thoughts and how did you feel about this 8-9 matchups? Normally these 8-9s are very, very tough. This is one that was that for me. I do like Creighton. I've been a Ryan Kalkbrenner fan for a while now, and I know he can do some damage against Louisville. But overall, they've just been so hot. And they are top 20 defense, top 20 offense. It's hard to go against a team like that. So that's why I ultimately pick Louisville.
I mean, the selection show started off with a bang, giving us, the team that lost in the ACC title, who won 26, 27 games this year, the team that lost in the Big East title, the Big Ten tournament champion, Michigan, the best 12 seed I've seen in a long time in San Diego, and a Texas A&M team that beat Auburn 2 weeks ago, and a Yale team that beat Auburn last in term. So it's just absolutely loaded from the top. Louisville Creighton's one that I've struggled with a bit. Something interesting is this game is being played at Rupp Arena in Kentucky, Louisville's biggest rival. And I saw, this is kind of a joke on Twitter, but someone saying, what if Kentucky fans just flood in and cheer for Creighton just because they hate Louisville? From a basketball perspective, I think Ryan Kalkbrenner is just a dominant player on the inside. He looks unassuming as this super skinny white dude who looks like he's not even having fun, but he's a 4-time Big East Defensive Player of the Year for a reason. Louisville has a shooter named Rain Smith, went to college at Charleston.
Is he going to play?
It seems like he's going to play, which I think is really big for them because he's a guy that can hit 6-7 threes in a game.
Yes.
So this one's a true toss-up, as much of a toss-up as the 8-9 get, but I'm leaning Louisville just because it's in Kentucky and because they got hugely screwed over getting this 8 seed. They're the second best team in the ACC, and you get an 8 seed, and you have to play Auburn in the second round. So I'm with you with this pick.
This next matchup, this was like the easiest one for me. UC San Diego. No disrespect to Michigan at all. Michigan has been playing some really good basketball as of late. I know everybody loves Danny Wolf, 7-foot point guard getting screens from Golden. Hey, I understand it. But when you figure out this UC San Diego team and you understand who they are, I think I sent Christian a YouTube video like 2 weeks ago when I first you hear teams and you'll see things, but it's different when you go visually watch how they play, watch what they're doing, or go to the college basketball analytics of Bartovic or Evan Meyer or Kim Palm, and really see what teams are doing and how they're winning, and go watch how they utilize their weapons or their strategic style. And when I seen the way UC San Diego play, I fell in love. Like I said with Ryan, they have a guy that I think is going to be TourneyMade, and the turnovers. When it comes to basketball in general, but really college basketball and March Madness, I'm a big turnover guy. If you're going to cough the ball up, especially to a team who is trying to make you cough the ball up, and they're going to utilize it to their leverage or to their advantage, then I got to go that way, man. Yeah, in San Diego, they have the recipe that I love. Even when I'm looking at the NBA, they don't turn the ball over. They force turnovers. They get on the offensive glass for second chance points. They're second in the nation in opponent turnovers. Like Tate Jones, I think, gets to the line the most as anybody in college basketball. So I ultimately got UC San Diego. I don't know about you, Christian, but I got them for the upset.
I'm not here to talk you out of it. Can I just make the pitch for Michigan?
Oh, absolutely.
So a game that sticks out to me. So UCLA, who we'll get to later, is one of the top 10 teams in the country at turning you over, right? And Michigan went to UCLA, which is tough to go out west, and won like 94-75. And they turned it over like 16 times or something. But when I think about something like that, I go, yes, on paper, UC San Diego is fantastic at turning the ball over. But so I watched them beat UC Irvine in the Big West title, and UC Irvine's got a 7-footer. So there's a mismatch of UC San Diego, and Capage's name their 6'8" big man is guarding the 7-footer. And of course, they're trapping, they're trying to make that entry pass tough. But man,
you lagging crazy right now.
What'd you say?
They got you lagging crazy.
Oh, for real? How
Will
about
it
now?
matter?
I don't know. Like, did you not hear that?
No.
I can pause and come back or something. Okay. So the toughest thing about projecting some of these matchups when you look at numbers, and we're going to talk about this with A&M Yale too, is like, yes, UC San Diego is great at turning the ball over against these Big West teams. You know what I'm saying? But there's levels to it in the sense that UC San Diego just played a really good 7-footer. UC Irvine's best player, who they beat in the Big West title, 7-foot guy from Germany, is a senior, and they held him to like 10 points, and he had 4 turnovers. But you go from Leuchten on UC Irvine to a dude who's going to play in the NBA. And it's like, that's, and not just Danny Wolf. You got Vlad Golden, who made the Final Four with Florida Atlantic and was a first team, if I'm not mistaken, first team All Big Ten performer. So it's like, are they going to be able to play small ball and turn guys over who are just much better than the guys they're used to playing? Like, maybe the Vegas thinks so. They're only 2-point underdogs. But like, even like a Trey Donaldson, who I'm not a big fan of. He's a good guard for Michigan. He had the game winner against Maryland in the Big Ten semis. But like, that's a dude who committed to Auburn and transferred to Michigan and is playing in the Big Ten. And UC San Diego is playing guards who were playing for UC Riverside and like these Big West schools. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see if UC San Diego can do what they do best against a team just at a much higher level. Like, on paper, it's a really bad matchup for Michigan. But when I think about who Dusty May is as a coach, the fact that they have won a few games in a row, playing their best ball, and a coach that made the Final Four 2 years ago, that's when I'm like, is this just kind of a hype thing?
It could be. I mean, really speaking, a lot of the stuff could be a hype thing. I mean, honestly, that's what a lot of this NCAA tournament stuff is. I'm going off the fact that Michigan turns the ball over anyway. So if I'm trying to cause you to turn the ball over and you turn the ball over even when you ain't playing me, it ain't like we're asking a UC San Diego team to turn over a team that doesn't turn the ball over. That would be a different conversation. But, you know, they do it anyway. So I'm going off of that. And I'm just going off the fact that they have one of those guys. And you get to the free throw line, you crash the offensive glass, you force turnovers. To me, whether this is UC San Diego or this is Kentucky, you know what I mean? Take the names away. When you look at how a team plays and what their strategy is, that's what I'm going off of. But like you said, they are a Big Ten team. They have played really well. They do have the size. They even use their size defensively as well by protecting the paint in Michigan. So, you know, they are definitely capable of winning. That's why they are a 5 seed. I think every single upset that might get talked about or somebody picks, there's going to be a reasonable argument for the other team. That's why the other team is a higher seed. You know what I mean? That's the tournament. Even in the next matchup, I'm going Yale, right? Like Texas A&M, they don't shoot the 3 ball good enough for me. I love the way that Yale defends, getting up in the gaps, for allowing teams to shoot threes. Yale forces teams to shoot 48% three. Like the 3-point rate is 48% against Yale. They are literally saying, hey, shoot, please shoot the threes. And Texas A&M ain't about to shoot them. Texas A&M can't even make free throws. That's one of my biggest things with teams like at this part of the year. You got to be able to make free throws. How many times have we seen tournament games go down to a 1-and-1 or whatever, and teams are just leaving points at the line? So I'm going with Yale. Again, this could be a popularity pick. This could be hype as well. But again, this is a style against another style. Somebody's strength, I think, can overlap somebody's weaknesses. And that's what got me picking Yale as a back-to-back upset on this side of the bracket. What side is this? What are they calling this? Is this
South
this
region.
is the South region. So we got South region with 2 upsets back-to-back in the first round. Obviously, that makes me feel like I'm going to have one of them wrong, you know, potentially. But again, I'm going to take my swing for the fence like I talked to Ryan about. Because when I see something that makes sense to me, I have to take it. You know what I mean? And if it comes back to bite me, it come back to bite me. I don't think, even if this is wrong, Michigan and Yale ain't doing shit against an Auburn anyway. So, you know, it is what it is. What you got in that matchup?
Pulikitis from Yale. He's the other Illinois guy you were talking about,
My guy,
right?
yes. Yep.
So he's the guy who scored, what was it?
Hashtag TourneyMade.
Yep. He hit 6 threes and went for 28 in the win over Auburn. So something I really like about Yale is you lost Danny Wolf, of course, to Michigan. Hello, potential revenge game. If Yale wins and it's Michigan, you get the Danny Wolf part too. But I mean, Yale has won 16 of their last 17 games. They've got 3 or 4 starters back from a team that beat an Auburn team that was underseeded as a 4 seed. That Auburn team was really, really good last year. But, the other side of the coin is if Auburn's crazy hothead Chad Baker-Mazara doesn't get ejected right when that game starts, maybe they don't win, But I think something interesting here is Yale's a great defensive rebounding team, and Texas A&M is the number 1 offensive rebounding team in the country. And, the same way I said the turnovers, while UC San Diego's great at forcing turnovers, are you good at forcing turnovers against a Big Ten team? Same with Yale's. You control the glass against these Ivy League mid-major teams. Can you control the glass against flailing 6'8" athletes who are dominating the glass in the SEC? So that's the key thing to watch for me. But these are 2 fantastic high-level mid-major teams, and can't get mad at you for picking the upset. Next up, we got the 6-11 Ole Miss against the winner of the game in Dayton, San Diego State, Carolina. These ones it always feels a little funky picking the 11 when you don't know exactly who it is yet, but I have a feeling you might be looking at an upset here. Who are you leaning in this one?
So I'm having a tough time figuring out who's going to play Ole Miss. I love me some San Diego State. I love Miles Byrd, as you know. I like Magoon. But North Carolina, man, they played really well in the ACC tournament. They impressed me a lot. They had some critical mistakes as well. I've watched them all year. You don't know what you're going to get, but same can be said about San Diego State, to be honest with you. Ryan talked about the Mountain West teams. I'm honestly going to allow Ole Miss to get this win. Regardless of it's San Diego State or North Carolina, Ole Miss has had some impressive wins. They've been playing better as of recent. They are a little bit more consistent than the 2 other teams, which says a lot because Ole Miss isn't that consistent themselves. But ultimately, I'm gonna go Ole Miss with either matchup they could potentially have. I do wish that San Diego State could get this win, though. San Diego State is my type of team.
I think San Diego State,
except the free throw shooter.
I think they're going to lock Carolina up. I think they're going to really disrupt them. They're so good at transition defense, and all Carolina wants to do is run. I think those guards are going to be really struggling. And Ole Miss is interesting, Pierre, because kind of lost in the shuffle a bit of the SEC because there's 14 teams from the tournament, and like Ole Miss, isn't the sexiest team. They don't have any clear NBA players, but when you have Chris Beard as your coach, who, that's who Ty Jerome. That's who Ty Jerome beat in the championship game just 6 years ago. But he's a really good coach. He's always been successful in March. I can't remember a time when he's lost in the first round. And Ole Miss takes elite care of the basketball. I think they're a really good team that is in the SEC. So people just you're going to lose a bunch of games there. So I think they're under the radar. They're a type of team that you get out of your league with an elite coach, take care of the ball, that you could get hot and shock some people.
That's why I got them. Shout out to Ole Miss, baby. I took Iowa State. Listen, I like Iowa State. I feel like they are very underrated. The Keyshawn Gilbert absence is probably going to make me not have them go as far as I probably would have if he was healthy. I also don't want to sleep on this Lipscomb team. Again, like I told Ryan, I don't act like I'm super familiar and watch every single team. They're a team that I know things about, but I have not seen them on floor. I will admit that and let that be known. Some things that I did see, that they can shoot the ball. They got snipers. They don't leave points at the free throw line. They guard without fouling. They control the defensive glass well. They got the Anderson kid, and I can't pronounce the novice. What's the other guy name?
I don't know.
Yeah, they might have some TourneyMade guys, but ultimately I'm gonna go with Iowa State on this one. I just feel a little bit more comfortable with their identity and what they do. They're just super balanced, man. I really wish that they were fully healthy, because they may be a team that might not have like a Ole Miss to a lesser degree, might not be as sexy and not a lot of NBA talent, like you said, jumping off the page from their team, but it's still a really good college basketball team with really good college basketball players, and ultimately that's all you need in this time of the year. So I'm taking Iowa State.
Iowa State might have been my champion if they were fully healthy. I don't want to fully discount them without Keyshawn Gilbert, because it's March. Play Tamin Lipsey and Curtis Jones 40 minutes, like let them rip. And they got a really good team. They're tough, the way they defend and the way they push the pace offensively. Lipscomb, I like that you've brought up some notes about them, because they're no joke. An interesting stat. They have a few interesting stats. This team is the 4th most over the past month, since February 1st. Mm-hmm. They're the 4th most efficient offense in the country. They're shooting 41% from deep. They're top 10 in taking care of the basketball. They're top 20 in defensive rebounding and top 15 in not fouling you. So they're and then guess who their coach Lenny Acuff coached Garrison Matthews when he was on Lipscomb. They made a tournament. Okay. They made a run to the NIT. So he's been around the block. They play a really good style of basketball, but they might just get.
He's been coaching there for a while.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's what's up. That is what's up.
Marquette, New Mexico.
Hey, man. Tough. I talked about this with Ryan a little bit. Tough. I'm ultimately going New Mexico. I love these type of defensive-minded teams. They force turnovers, control the glass. They get to the free throw line a bunch. They suck at free throws a little bit for how much they get there, but they still get there a bunch. They play the fast tempo. The only things I don't like is that they're not a superior free throw shooting team. But I do love teams that are able to get there. Sometimes it balances it out, right? If you're a 69% free throw shooting team, but you get there 25 times, if you miss 5 of them, you still got a decent amount of points at the line. I love Donovan Dent. He's experienced. He's been here before. It's just really tough for me because I love Marquette. I'm a big Cam Jones fan. You know what I mean? I like the big fella that they got as well. What's his name? Is his last name Jones as well? Number 12?
Ben Gold.
But there you go. I don't know what I'm thinking about. I know obviously you got your boy that you ain't a fan of.
Joplin. I'm trying to come around on it.
I want to bring him up, but I'm interested to know your decision, your thought process. Marquette does not turn the ball over a bunch. This is one of those clashing type teams, but I'm ultimately going to go with New Mexico. Wild ass defenses sometimes just kind of, no matter how well you protect the ball, they'll get to you, right? Like Cam Jones does a lot of handling for Marquette, so we're going to see how New Mexico is able to pressure them.
This might be the best guard matchup in the first. Not that they're necessarily going to be guarding each other, but Cam Jones and Donovan Dent are two of the best guards in the country. Really interesting note here. Nelly Jr. Joseph played for Rick Pitino at Iona, transfers to New Mexico, played for Richard Pitino, and man, he's a bully on the inside. He's really good. And what did St. John's just do to Marquette? Kind of bullied him on the interior. Zuby Ejiofor had like 32, so that's a tough matchup for them to deal with. But man, I got to give Cam Jones a game. Like I think Marquette's a team that if they do take care of the basketball, win the turnover battle, and the guys like Joplin and Ross are hitting their threes, I think they're a team that could get hot and go for a real run in this tournament. But New Mexico's no joke. This is going to be a really good game.
It should be a lot of fun. Should be nice tempo. You got Mitchell. Marquette can kind of cause some havoc with his steals and whatnot. I'm going Michigan State. We don't have to talk too much about it. What I will say though is when I talked to Ryan, he talked about, Bryan isn't a team that's necessarily to sleep on. He don't pick them to win, but he says they have some really good size. Thing that I noticed about Bryan is that fast tempo, crash the glass well for second chance points. They block a bunch of shots, and they got Earl Timberlake. You remember Earl Timberlake?
Mm-hmm.
So, that's kind of a cool story. I always wonder where guys like Earl Timberlake end up, and I had no idea it was at Bryan. So shout out to Earl Timberlake.
He was a big high school player, right? That's why you know him? Or was he committed to Memphis originally?
He went to Memphis.
Because then he went to Miami. And there's another guard on Bryant who transferred from Miami, Ja'Kai Robinson. So they got some high.
So they just going to Bryant. Bryant go to Miami. So is Jaleel Batha going to Bryant? I'm just joking. Shout out to Michigan State, though. All right, the West. Florida. We take it Florida. We know what they do. They've been looking like one of the best teams, if not the best team in the country. Here's one that a lot of people are going to be very interested in what I do. Obviously, I love me some Jeremiah Fears, representing from the crib. But ultimately, I got to go UConn, man. UConn is UConn. They turn the ball over way too much versus what you would expect to see from UConn. But again, they are able to guard without fouling. They get second chance points. They have incredible paint defense. They're going to slow the tempo down, and they're going to use their experience. And Oklahoma, as much as I love Jeremiah Fears, I think it can be a little dangerous having your go-to guy and your leader be a freshman. You know what I mean? This is a stage. That's why Kentucky is trying to get out of the first round for the last, I don't know how many years, is because John Calipari, though they're talented players, the inexperience of March can sometimes come back to bite you in that department. So ultimately, I'm going with UConn. I would not be against being wrong here, though. I would not mind a Jeremiah Fears 32-point performance to take down UConn in the first round with some heroics. I would not be against that at all. They're skilled offense. They're inside and out. They're just vulnerable inside. They get to the line and they make them at a high rate, but they struggle on the glass, and I think that's where UConn can really take advantage of this game. And ultimately, I'm going UConn. You got anything different, or will you UConn as well?
Oklahoma struggles on the glass, and Sam Godwin, their best rebounder, might not be playing in this game. I think a fully healthy Oklahoma, who went undefeated in non-conference play, could absolutely beat UConn. I think Pierce is the best player on the floor, to be honest, in this game. But if Godwin's not playing, I can't take Oklahoma. So I'm cool with UConn with you.
If Tyrese Hunter is playing, I'm just going to ride with Memphis. But because I don't know if he's playing or not, and the way Colorado State has played as of late, I really love Nick Clifford. I like some of the other guards that they have on that team as well. They generate threes. They score in the paint. Memphis has been so shaky. They beat really good teams, and then they'll lose to some bullshit-ass team. Oh, man. Damn it. Give me Memphis and Penny, man. Give me Memphis and Penny. I might come back and regret this because I feel like my gut is saying take Colorado State, but then I feel like my gut is saying take Memphis. I'm going to just stick with Memphis as of right now. I do want everybody to know, again, we're doing this on a Monday. So if you see me end up saying, yes, Colorado State pulled it off, and you like, wait, but didn't you pick Memphis? I may have switched in the next couple of days. This is one of those things that I could see going back and forth. I'm going to just be a little biased here and take Penny. Some of the things about Memphis, they're a strong defensive-minded team. They're looking to turn you over. They turn the ball over a ton. They struggle a little bit on the glass, but they do have that fast tempo that's going to attack you, and PJ Haggerty is going to score. They got my boy Danger, who also went to U of I. And then where did Danger go before U of I?
Baylor.
Boom. So I think he's going to be a presence there. Again, is Tyrese Hunter playing? Is he not? Will it matter? Will it? I don't know. Christian, did you end up taking Colorado State? I wouldn't be surprised if you took Colorado State.
I'm struggling with this one. Colorado State is shooting 44% from deep since February 1st, which is just so absurd that you kind of feel like they're due for maybe a little bit of regression. PJ Haggerty's as good as Nikkei Clifford is. Like PJ Haggerty's, you saw me tweet this the other day. I'm so excited to watch PJ Haggerty in the tournament. He is so good, and Dane Danger is so tough to stop. Jordane's great on the glass. I love Memphis. It's crazy that they're underdogs here, but Colorado State's been hooping. I'm with you though on Memphis. I obviously feel better if Tyrese Hunter plays though. Sorry, on Pierre's point about this is your Monday bracket. Y'all will be able to see Pierre's official bracket in the Enjoy Basketball Tournament Challenge group. Stay tuned to socials. That our brackets change throughout the week. This is his Monday bracket. You'll see his Thursday bracket. He won't be claiming. He won't say, but I had Grand Canyon in my Monday bracket, so
exactly.
You can't do that, but
exactly. I don't have Grand Canyon though. Maryland's going to pounce on them. I do like Grand Canyon though. Last year they were really, really fun. I obviously Tyson Grand and whatnot. Shout out to Grand Canyon because I think they're dope. I just don't think that they have enough for a Maryland team, which a lot of teams won't have enough. Maryland may go on a run for me. I love the way that Maryland plays. But yeah, I'm gonna ultimately stick with them and not go Grand Canyon. Now this next matchup, unless you have something to say about Grand Canyon, but I don't think you do. You think you taking Maryland?
Well, you can't count out a team that won a game in the tournament last year and looked really good.
I'm counting them out against Maryland.
Let me say this. Maryland, I wonder what your macro level take on this, but some people are like, the one knock on Maryland is their starting five is amazing, but it's kind of just them.
Weak, yeah.
In Grand Canyon, relentless attack of the rim. They take top 5 most shots at the rim. They get to the line, the 7th most of any team in the country. So all of a sudden, if Derek Queen picks up 2 quick fouls, you're looking at a different basketball game. I think this is a bad matchup for Maryland, but Maryland is one of my favorite teams in the country, so I'm going to have a tough time knocking them out in the first round.
I'm not mad at that. I just hate the 3-point shooter for Grand Canyon. That's just me, though. Missouri, Drake. I'm going Drake, man. I'm going Drake. Listen, Drake can turn the ball over a bit. They can be vulnerable on the inside. We know what Mark Mitchell can do sometimes. But they get to the line. They clean the glass. They force turnovers. They have a patient, more slower tempo. And they have a guy. They got Bennett Sturts. He's TourneyMade to me. And they also got the guy that can shoot the threes.
Mascari.
There we go. Mitch Mascari. This one is tough because me and Christian talked about Missouri probably about a month ago. And it was like, man, Missouri is really, 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 really good. And I won't lie. I would sleep on them to start the season. And I count on late. And it's tough picking against teams that, you kind of wake up on because you kind of feel confident in them. The thing is, when you get caught on a team late, what ends up happening is you're like, oh man, this team is good. And then you start to watch them. And when you start to watch and you start to see them perform and they're delivering and they're playing well and they have some key wins that you witness, you start to become like a believer yourself. And then you get to the tournament and it's like, damn, they got Drake in the first round. I got to go with Drake. I'm not mad at anybody going with Missouri at all. I won't be mad if I'm wrong on this. And even if I'm right, it's going to sting a little bit because I really do like the way that this Missouri team plays. Didn't this Missouri team beat my Alabama?
Yes.
I believe it. Yeah.
110 on Alabama, and they won at Florida. So that shows you.
Yes. So those that is forever ingrained in my brain what they did to Alabama. So, again, it's tough, but I really do like this Drake team a lot.
This kind of screams the type of game where, Mizzou just starts a little slow. Drake kicks some shots at the beginning, and then they just get frustrated, and they start launching early in the shot clock, playing right into Drake's hands. They're slowing the tempo down. They're getting offensive rebounds. I could see Drake driving Mizzou absolutely nuts, but like quick roll call Mizzou. You got Mark Mitchell, really strong recruit, transfers from Duke. Tamar Bates has been around for forever, went to Indiana. Anthony Robinson's an NBA player. Tony Perkins has played 4 years at Iowa. Caleb Grohl's one of the best shooters in the country. He's like older than me. Trent Pierce is a good player. Marquise Warwick barely plays, and he is like an all-time leading scorer at the school he played for. So they're loaded, but it's a great matchup for Drake to really frustrate them.
Shout out to Missouri, man. Really good team there. I got Texas Tech. Sorry, UNC Williamson. They do have a guy, Donovan Newby. They offensive rebound extremely well. They get to the line, they pound the paint. But I got to go with Texas Tech. That's Christian's team right there, Texas Tech.
And they're healthy. That was the concern. Were they not healthy? Because they were missing two guys in the Big 12 tournament, Chance McMillan and Darion Williams. They're healthy, and they're super fun to watch.
Kansas, Arkansas. Should be fun. Should be good. I'm ultimately taking Kansas. I trust them more. Both of these teams, it's just who can you trust more. These are two untrustworthy teams as far as the year has gone. But ultimately, I think Kansas has a little bit sure fire with Hunter Dickinson, Zeke Mayo, Harris. This is a team that has some continuity a little bit there. KJ Adams. Arkansas is a little bit younger. They're a little bit thrown together. This is the first year. And, for whatever reason, John Calipari struggles in that first round. So give me Kansas there, and then give me St. John's there over Omaha. And now we flowing right into the East region, which is give me Duke, no matter who they play. This was a tough one, but I'm ultimately taking Mississippi State, man. Baylor's kind of not been the Baylor we've been used to. Mississippi State, not the best three-point shooting team. They do get them up, though. They protect the ball. They force turnovers. They got good offensive rebounding. They guard the three-point line extremely bad, which could be a thing that is to watch. But thankfully for them, it ain't like Baylor is just going to light you up too much there. And they can push the pace. And I think Josh Hubbard is hashtag TourneyMade there. Obviously, we wouldn't mind if Baylor wins because then VJ Edgecombe gets to play more games. Stanley Wright in the backcourt there. But ultimately, I'm going Mississippi State. Was this one a tough one for you, Christian? Did you go different? Was this fast? Did you care? Are you still torn? 8-9 is always tough.
Yeah, Duke's winning. I've been pretty low on Baylor, but I think it's a decent matchup for them. Just the way Mississippi State attacks offensively, I think, Baylor, you're starting Norchad Omier and Jalen Celestine because you lost your big man for the season. So you're starting 2 6'7" guys. Norchad generously 6'7". Mississippi State has a couple 6'10" guys, but they play smaller than that. They're kind of like face-up bigs, like the way Texas A&M does. So I think Baylor's in a good spot, but Mississippi State's better, more depth. But I love Baylor, but it's a true toss-up.
Hey, Mississippi State and Texas A&M, they got to start to do something different. They wear the same colors. They kind of play the same. I used to get them mixed up so much for the last few years. I used to be like, oh, Henry Coleman, but I'm like, oh, no, he's with A&M. But anyway, Oregon Liberty. I got Oregon. But I think it's worth saying I got a star right here in my notes next to Liberty because I'm aware that they could do that. They're just one of the worst free throw shooting teams. They don't offensive rebound too much. They suffocate the three-point line, though. They're excellent with three-point shooting and interior scoring. And they let the threes fly. They are a smaller team. They got Peter, Porter, Matheny. They can really light it up, but I'm ultimately not going to go against Dana Altman. Again, Jackson Shellstad, I talked about him earlier with Ryan. I really love him. Nate Biddle, can't believe he's a senior already. It sucks that they don't got my guy from last year. What's my guy from last year? He was so good for them.
On Liberty?
No, on Oregon.
Oh, Cuisinart or
Man,
Dante and Feli Dante.
no. Cuisinart. That boy
Yeah,
was going
he dropped
crazy.
230 pieces in the tournament.
Crazy. So I know they wish they still had him, but give me Oregon. And yeah, Nafali Dante was a monster as well. He turned it up really, really real going into tournament play. But give me Oregon. Did you have Liberty?
I have Oregon. I haven't watched Liberty. I know about them. Do you remember their guard Darius McGee? By the way, the little 5'9" guard, played
I don't
5
think I
years
do.
there.
I may have to go see him. I may have to see him. Was he lighting it up?
Yeah, crazy good shooter. 5'9" and would just average like 20 some a game. Super fun player. If he was there, I'd pick him. But what about Arizona Akron?
I'm going Zona. The size is just, I think, too overwhelming. We talked about them a little bit with Ryan. Akron is going to be fun. They're going to shoot a bunch. That's what everybody's been saying. They're going to get the threes up. That's always dangerous. I don't care how big of a team is. I don't care what metrics a team has on their side. Whenever a team is just lighting up the threes and getting them up, if they start to fall, it's just like the NBA. Anybody can lose on any given day when a team is just shooting that many threes. They're never out of a game, and they can put you out of a game at any given moment. So Arizona got to come in sharp, and they have to come in focused. But ultimately, I'm going to give them the nod there. I really like that Arizona team a lot. I kind of think they're sneaky underrated. BYU. Oh, my bad. Go ahead.
Quick note. Remember when Ohio, back in like 2010, I think it was, won an NCAA tournament game? They smoked Georgetown. And then 2 years later, they made the Sweet 16. They had to guard Armand Bassett, guard DJ Cooper.
Armand Bassett, yes.
Anyway, the coach of that Ohio team, he won 3 NCAA tournament games in a few years with Ohio. He's the coach of Akron now. So
that makes a ton of sense. Good luck against Arizona. It wouldn't be the first time Arizona busted my bracket in the first round. Shout out to Nate Oates. Hey man, y'all know I love me some Jaeger Demon. I like Saunders. He can really shoot that rock. What is Saunders' name? I always
Richie.
Richie. That's why I always call him Ryan, but that's Flip Saunders' son, who is an assistant coach in the NBA. So Richie. And then they got the big fella, Traore. He was a monster last year as well. He's a monster this year. But VCU they're too grimy. I don't think they're going to allow BYU to play the game that they want to play. I almost called them BCU. I don't think they're going to let BYU play the game that they want to play. But regardless of how good VCU is, BYU has a top 10 offense, controls the glass, efficient inside-out scoring team, gets the threes up. Suspect free throw shooting, but it'll be okay. And then VCU, stingy defense, limits threes and protects the paint. Everything that BYU is for, VCU is against. So this is going to be one of the games that I make sure I'm sitting down with my popcorn, tuned in, and I'm ultimately going VCU. They also have a TourneyMade guy too, my boy Max Sugar. He's a hashtag TourneyMade. Remember that if you don't already know.
He's so good. So good.
He's better than what I thought he was.
Me too. I had the same thought this year. I'm like, this guy's supposed to be the best. And I was like, hey, yo, he's good. And they also got sneaky, just a glue guy, a winner. Jack Clark was on Clemson's Elite Eight team last year. He's on this VCU team. And Ryan Odom, VCU's coach, was the UMBC coach when they beat Virginia.
Yes, when they beat Virginia. Yep. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So he might be stirring up the pot some more. Montana. What do I have? Montana, they don't force turnovers. They score well inside the arc. Solid 3-point shooting team, but don't shoot too many threes. They can't guard the interior. Not that strong defensively, a little bit smaller. That's why I'm taking Wisconsin. I don't like Wisconsin. You know what I mean? And that's like the school. Again, people ask me why. They just remind me of the rival school I played against in high school, Hinsdale Central. If you Google Hinsdale Central, the colors, everything about it is just the same. So I just don't like Wisconsin. I did used to like Wisconsin when I was younger under Bo Ryan, Devin Harris, Orlando Tucker, all of that good stuff. Regardless of how I feel, basketball is basketball. Wisconsin, I like the way that they play. They got the guy from Notre Dame, ain't that right? That's your guy, Christian.
He's not from Colorado State. John Tonje.
Colorado State. Is he gonna be the player of the year for the Big Ten?
I forget. I don't think he won it, but I think Braden Smith won it. But Jace Richardson actually in the handshake line said Tonje,
exactly.
You my player of the year.
Yes. But Braden Smith, no complaints for him getting there, in my opinion. I like Braden Smith a lot. But Wisconsin, they can shoot. They got 2 7-footers who can shoot. They score the basketball. I really am intrigued to see how far I have them going because I really like the way that they play offense, Wisconsin.
They're really fun to watch. They're not your typical Wisconsin team. They play a lot faster.
At all.
Not just Tanjay. They got John Blackwell's a really good guard. One note on Montana, they got this guard named Money Williams. His name is Money Williams. They played at Tennessee earlier this year. Yes, they lost by 40 points, but Money Williams had 30. So don't be
okay,
Money Williams.
That's all we're looking for. Some excitement. Money Williams, come on, give us a show. St. Mary's, Vanderbilt, St. Mary's all day. St. Mary's is one of my favorite teams in the entire nation. I love me some St. Mary's. It sucks that the next game that they would have to play is against my boy Nate Oates. You can mark that down. Shout out to Robert Morris. But yeah, St. Mary's, the offensive rebound is just it's elite, top 10 defense, protect the ball, control the glass, defend without fouling, slower pace team. Free throw shooting a little bit concerning is what I wrote down. I can't remember the numbers off the top of my head. Mikey Lewis is going to splash. Wessels was going to tap the ball out. And Marcio Lunas is my do-it-all guy. I think he's hashtag TourneyMade as well.
Yeah, I mean, free Mikey Lewis. Randy Bennett doesn't want to play him as much as he should, but they need him. This is similar to Drake Mizzou, a huge tempo mismatch. Vanderbilt wants to run. St. Mary's wants to make you hate life and just control the glass, and they will do that. Vanderbilt stars Devin McLaughlin, pretty good big man, Jalen Carey off the bench, but, I mean, St. Mary's just takes you down and just makes life hell for you. This is interesting, Pierre. We'll get back to this when we do the second round, but St. Mary's, Alabama, we would have got this matchup last year if St. Mary's didn't lose to Grand Canyon. They were in that little pod. So,
okay. I didn't realize.
Wanted to have this matchup in the tournament.
I had something to say about Robert Morris. One thing I will say about Robert Morris, they turn the ball over a lot, offensive rebound, free throw shooting team, slower pace, moves the basketball well. They have a guy, which I think is very ironic that they're going to play against Alabama. Remember me saying this. I have no inside sources. I could be extremely wrong. I don't even know what Alabama's recruiting class looks like for next year completely. But they have their big man, Alvaro Focorias or whatever, for Robert Moore. He plays like a Nate Oates big.
Interesting.
He plays like a big that would play for Nate Oates. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I just always find that funny when some of these lower seeds are playing against these high major teams, because you know how the portal is, man. You jump into the portal, and next thing you know, we're saying, hey, man, remember that guy Mikey Lewis from St. Mary's? Yeah, now he's playing for Auburn, splashing three. That's just how this shit might turn out to be. So I'm keeping that in mind as we go through the bracket as well. I'm glad you already got Houston. We ain't got to waste no time there. We ain't got to waste no time. I could talk a bunch about what Houston does. If you don't know, then you ain't been watching college basketball for years. Gonzaga, Georgia. I do love the way that Georgia has turned the season around. They obviously have a first-round projected pick in Asa Newell. But I'm going to take Gonzaga. Hard to go against Gonzaga. That second-round match is going to be extremely exciting. I'm going to take Houston there, too. You could take Houston over Gonzaga. Defensively, I just think that they got too much for Gonzaga there. Didn't mean to make you mess up the whole bracket, but I'm just going off what I know. Clemson McNeese. I love Will Wade. I love McNeese last year. If you are here and you watched my YouTube video last year, McNeese State was our team. That's all we talked about last year in our bracket. Hey, we can have everything else wrong, but my boy, number 13, what's his name? Christian, I know you know. Shahada Wells, baby. That was my guy. And they still got my dog Shoemate. My dad actually knows Shoemate's dad, so he put me on a Shoemate. He's a smaller 6'6" front court player, but he plays a lot bigger than his size. I think their go-to guy is hurt, though. I don't think McNeese is going to have their quote-unquote what should have been their best player. I think he got hurt early in the year.
Alan Breed from Providence. Yeah, they haven't had him since then.
So I'm taking Clemson. Clemson is extremely overrated, man. I think Clemson don't get enough credit, don't get enough love. The ACC is extremely packed, as we know, but I got Clemson. Upset alert. I talked about Braden Smith. I like Braden Smith. I like Purdue. I'm taking High Point, man. I'm taking High Point. High Point, they have all of the makings. This could be a hype pick. But they just the offense is too good. Offensive minded. They take care of the ball. They have a balanced attack of paint and 3-point shooting. They get to the line. They make the free throws. They don't foul much. And then they have is it Badeau? The big guy?
I forget.
Badeau. He's an offensive rebounding machine. And then they have the backcourt.
Oh yes.
Yeah, I just it's gonna be too good, man. Braden Smith and Coffee and Rain aren't gonna go out sweet. They got Fletcher, Lawyer as well. He's going to light it up a bunch. But I'm ultimately taking High Point there. Any of those did you pick McNeese? Did you pick Georgia? Did you pick Purdue in your bracket?
Real quick, so
you lean to?
I'm a huge Gonzaga guy. I'm a little scared of the Georgia matchup because Newell and Godfrey is a really good front court.
Offensive rebound like a mug.
Yeah, but I think Gonzaga's guards are so much better. Georgia doesn't really have a point guard, and Mark Few has 4 days of prep time. Like, he's elite in the tournament. So I
got really good guard play.
I'm a little scared by it. McNeese, man, McNeese is just they just want to bully you. They just attack the rim, one-on-one. It's not – I don't enjoy watching it. Last year I fell for the hype and picked them to beat Gonzaga, which I'm still mad about. And last year McNeese was top 10 in the country in three-point shooting and top 10 in the country in taking care of the basketball. They're not elite in those areas at all anymore.
They don't got Shahada.
They don't have Shahada. Clemson's going to play high-low all day. They got bigs that can pass the ball. I think they're going to crush it. And then Purdue High Point, I'm kind of torn. Purdue's lost so many heartbreaking upsets in the tournament. Mm-hmm. I feel like there's able to kind of rally around that and not lose in this upset, but I think it's going to be a really close game.
I got Xavier beating Texas, and then I got Xavier beating Illinois. Illinois is just not it for me, man. I know a lot of people going, you're from Illinois. It's hard watch. Not a good team. They have talent, though. I want to get that understood. They have talent, but for whatever reason, it has not performed like I thought it would when I looked at them on paper. And I think that they are – the thing that's annoying about Illinois is I'm picking against them, and Illinois might win. And then they could potentially could beat Kentucky. That's why people don't like Illinois, because you like talk about inconsistent, don't know what you're getting. I'm on a favor that they won't win, though. So give me Xavier. I love the way Xavier been playing. And then give me Kentucky. I am going to take Kentucky, but it's something about that Troy team that I really like. Then now I will say this: they can't shoot for shit, the 3-point ball, but the way that they protect the paint, I really do like. And they got the guy, Tatum. What's his last name? Tatum
Conroy. I think.
There you go. Shot blocking team. Free throw shooting is solid, but ultimately Kentucky is just too high powered, too fast paced. Is Kentucky healthy at all?
So Lamont Butler is supposed to play. I tweeted this out actually earlier today. He's only hit 1 3-pointer since January 25th. There's been 4 times this season where he's missed a couple games. He comes back. He's missed a couple games. He says he's healthy, but I don't really believe him. He can still really guard, but I don't think he can. He's not himself. He's supposed to play. But Jackson Robinson, one of my favorite players in the country. Actually.
BYU. Yeah.
He's not there. Kirk Crease has missed the whole season. Kentucky's bounced back really well from the injuries, but I don't know if they're really at full strength without Butler being himself. But Otega always been playing out of his mind lately.
He has been playing really, really good. I'm torn right here, Christian. I'm gonna let you take the floor for this matchup. UCLA, Utah State. Let us know all your thoughts, who you picking or whatever.
I will say I don't really have any 13s or 14s winning, but Troy is the one that I'm eyeing. They got
man. It's something about Troy. They just don't shoot the 3. You got to be able to make some threes, man. You have to.
Thing. Even if you're a team that shoots 30% from 3, who says you can't hit 12 threes in a tournament game? Anyone can.
You're right. What's their 3-pointer rate though? Do they even get them up? You guys teams like Mississippi.
They get them up. They just don't
make them, but they get them. Yeah.
They take they're 57th in 3-point attempt rate.
Oh, okay. That's nice.
But they crash up top 6th nationally in offensive rebound percentage. As you mentioned, they're a really good shot blocking team. And they got Miles and Marcus Rigsby. When you got brothers in your starting lineup in March Madness, the Martin twins, the Lopez twins, they didn't win.
They're not twins though, right?
Washington. I know, but they're still brothers.
Okay.
Close enough. Anyways, UCLA is a team that I've been pretty out on this year, but like I made my bracket and all of a sudden they're in my Elite 8 because I think this is just kind of a gross region. I think UCLA or Xavier could come out of this. Like, I think this is wide open.
Wow.
But Utah State takes their top 5 nationally in shots taken at the rim. I just think that's going to be hard to get into against a UCLA team coached by Mick Cronin. They're just so good at forcing turnovers, and they got 10 guys they can play. I really like UCLA as a team that can surprise people who hasn't been playing good basketball. UCLA, Ole Miss, and Marquette are the 3 teams of like, when Ryan was like –
Ole Miss, Marquette, okay.
Those are teams that, as Ryan mentioned, Clemson last year lost by 20 points to Boston College in the first round of the ACC tournament. They look terrible. You're like, that's the easiest team to fade in the tournament. New Mexico is going to beat them. And then what do? They upset New Mexico. They upset Baylor. They upset Arizona, and then they almost beat Alabama. And it's like, where did this come from? But it's like, this is a veteran team. These guys aren't just going to roll over because they had a bad end to the season. They're hyped to play in March Madness. And UCLA has a coach in Mick Cronin who's made a Final Four. Chris Beard has a coach. Ole Miss's coach Chris Beard has made a Final Four. And who was my other team? I said Marquette. Shaka Smart has made a Final Four. So I'm picking 3 teams with experienced coaches, with really good players that have been playing teams in their league that have seen them before and seen the styles. You go into the bracket, anything can happen. So those are my 3. I call them. I don't know what to call them. But there you go. So UCLA is my pick, but it's up to you.
No, I'm taking UCLA as well. As much as I like Ian Martinez from Maryland, give me UCLA because everything you said. That's why I asked Ryan, how much does he consider coaching? You have to. When you have the Mick Cronins of the world, the Chris Beards of the world, the Shaka Smarts, you have to take it into account that they've been there and that they've done it. I'm a big fan of Kobe Johnson as well, Jalen Johnson's brother from the Atlanta Hawks.
I didn't realize they were brothers.
Yeah, they are brothers.
I did not know that. Wow.
Yep. USC transfer. And then obviously, I got Tennessee.
Okay.
All right.
Round 2. We'll speed it up a bit here. You just tell me. And
Auburn. For UC San Diego, Yale, I'm taking UC San Diego. Ole Miss, Iowa State. I'm sorry, Ole Miss is where y'all fall. I'm taking Iowa State, even though I didn't have Keyshawn Gilbert. And listen, man, Michigan State versus New Mexico. I'm just doing some shit just to be doing it. I'm not gonna lie. I hate going against Tom Izzo. He's one of the guys that I like. Literally, if I have a son, and well, Tom Izzo probably won't be coaching, but I would have literally been like, "Hey, you going to take a visit with Tom Izzo? I don't give a damn what your top 5 is, because Tom Izzo is getting you far in the tournament." But this year, the lack of 3-point shooting, the lack of a really dynamic guy, I would say, or no, I take the back. You can call Jace Richardson somewhat dynamic. I just feel like New Mexico with the defense, Donovan Dent, I kind of like them to go far. And then, what is it, Sweet 16?
Yeah, you got Auburn, UC San Diego.
Auburn. I wish we could have some theatrics, but they're just too damn good. Damn near top 10 offense and defense. I think they're 12th defensively now, but they were top 10 defense, offense and defense, which is usually a recipe to success. Iowa State, again, this would be a really, really good matchup, and Iowa State could hold it on. But I'm gonna take New Mexico in this one again because at this point, New Mexico would just be rolling. They would just be on point. And then Auburn, again, too much offensive firepower for New Mexico's defense. And then defensively, they would also kind of suffocate Donovan Dent and maybe neutralize him. And once you turn his water off, that would be it. Which is now making me feel like I should take Michigan State because Michigan State could probably do the same thing that Donovan did. You know what? Go back. Take Michigan State. Michigan State over Iowa State as well.
Wow.
And then give me Michigan State over Auburn.
Wow.
Tom Izzo does it.
This is what I'm saying, Pierre. This is what you got to talk it through. You got to see where your heart's at. You got to find the heart-mind connection.
You're absolutely right, Christian. You're absolutely right. Down in the West region, baby. Florida. I would love for Florida to lose this game just for theatrics, but they are too damn good. They're going to beat UConn. Maryland, as much as I love Penny Hardaway, they're going to lose to Memphis. This matchup, 4-5 matchup is dope. And then we have Drake, Texas Tech. If I didn't know anything, I would take Drake, but because Christian has put me on to so much Texas Tech basketball and the Pascal Siakam 2.0 and JT Toppin, as Christian likes to call them, give me Texas Tech, man. Kansas and St. John's, really good coaching matchup, but I'm taking Mr. Rick Pitino and RJ Lewis there. And then this is where it gets tough. I also, Christian, let's take this time to talk to the people for a second. As a college basketball watcher, right, and this is going to really show my age, I have been filling out brackets for about 22 years. I think my first bracket, I was maybe like 8 years old. I'm 30 now, so I'm well over 2 decades of making brackets. Whenever you have a fucking Sweet 16 of a 1, 2, 3, 4, there is some cause of concern. I hate what I am looking at. I somehow got all 4 of the top seeds in the West region to the Sweet 16. This is not good. This is letting me know I'm shitting the bed somewhere. Can we reverse it real quick? Is there somewhere where I could? No, there is no team. There's no situation where.
Pierre, there's always one region at least that it is 1-4-3-2, maybe a 1-5-3-2, or a 1-4-6-2. So
Thank you for making me feel comfortable.
Yeah, don't go too hard on yourself. This is the most likely thing to happen. We just don't want to see a bracket. I just don't want to see no celebrity bracket. I'm calling you celebrity, where it's 1-4-3-2, 1-4-3-2, 1-4-3-2, 1-4-3-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1. That's what you see, and
Jamie Foxx bracket.
and that pissed me off. So don't worry about it. You can have one clean little chalky reach. It never hurt anybody.
I'm going Florida. I want to take Maryland, but I'm going Florida. And then I'm taking Texas Tech. And then I'm going to take Florida. Matter of fact, go back. I'm taking St. John's. And then I'm taking St. John's to beat Florida.
Let's do it.
I got to make sure that's what I want to do. If I coach a team, their roster would look like Florida's. I'm not going to lie. I'll probably have a star freshman somewhere. But when you got those bigs that they have and the way that they can pass, you got experienced guard play. You talk about what Bruce Pearl said. No, Florida, they guards ain't pussies. Like, if we just being honest, Florida, they guards hoop. And they got my boy from didn't he play over there with Dusty May?
Yeah, Elijah Martin. He guards.
Elijah Martin. Too. Yeah. They could do this next year too. This is a team again where Florida, if I was playing in this tournament and I seen Florida and I was a guard, I would enter the portal and say, hey, Clayton gone, let me take that spot personally. If I play at one of these lower ranked schools, let me just make sure I'm set on this. St. John's over Florida. No, there's no way. No, give me Texas Tech. St. John's don't shoot the 3-ball good enough. And then I'm going to take. I gotta look at something real quick. How deep is Texas Tech?
They go a solid 8 deep.
Give me Texas Tech, baby. We going Texas Tech. That might be dumb. Florida might win this whole thing, man. The way Florida just played,
flawless basketball team playing. They don't have a single thing wrong with them. Someone can beat them, but they're a perfect. I can't give you a single.
Give me Florida. Give me Florida. Give me Florida. And let's hurry up and move so I don't change my mind again. Thank you.
All right, here we go. East region: Duke, Mississippi State.
Give me Duke.
Oregon, Arizona.
Oregon.
VCU, Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
Wow, you're a changed man. St. Mary's, Alabama.
Yeah. Alabama.
Duke, Oregon.
Oregon.
Wow, why? You gotta tell us why.
Guard play. Wisconsin. No, I'll take that. Give me Duke because the interior. Nate Biddle and those guys. They not gonna be able to score on Duke now that I think about it. Cooper Flagg's gonna be healthy. Malawach, they won't be able to score on Duke. Actually, give me Alabama. Let's get the Alabama Duke thing going, and give me Alabama.
There we go. All right, and the Midwest, Houston, Gonzaga. You already told me Houston.
I got Houston. Taking Clemson over High Point. I'm going Xavier over Kentucky. Too many injuries. And I'm going Tennessee over UCLA. I'm going Tennessee over Xavier. That defense is too suffocating. I'm taking Houston over Clemson. Bro, no way. 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. I don't like that.
Yeah, where's
at all?
What happened? We need somebody. What's on your piece of paper in front of you? You don't have any non-1, 2s, to 3s in the Elite Eight?
It didn't go far. It only went first 2 rounds. So go back. Let's you're right. Let's dial it back. Give me Oregon over Duke.
Not a 1, 2, or 3 in the Elite Eight.
Give me Oregon over Duke.
That looks better at least.
And then go back to the Houston Midwest. Give me Clemson over Houston.
Wow. The 5s came to play.
Give me Clemson over Tennessee.
Wow. I love it. A rematch from last year's Elite Eight.
Is it?
Yeah, Alabama beat Clemson.
Right. Yeah, because Clemson got give me Alabama versus Michigan State.
We've got a Final Four.
No, good against Florida. I'm sorry.
We got a Final Four of Michigan State, Florida, Alabama, Clemson. We've got a national championship of Florida, Alabama, round 3, if I'm not mistaken, potentially round 4. No. Wait. They played how many times during the regular season? Because they played at least This would be round 3. And Florida's already beaten them twice. You know what they say. It's hard to beat a team 3 times this season. To do Nate outs. And the Crimson Tide upset Florida in the championship game.
I just wanted to be known. This would not be my final bracket. I'm already like, what did I do wrong? This is the fun part. But I'll just be biased for my TV, for my own show. Give me Alabama. Alabama wins by 7. There we have it, man. There we have it. We filled out our bracket. What would your Final Four have looked like?
What would mine have looked like? I'll share my. So I have my Monday bracket.
Let's go.
I'm not
Monday bracket.
Y'all can tie me to my official bracket, but here's what I've got. I've got an Elite Eight of Texas A&M, Marquette.
Who does Texas A&M beat? Auburn? Wow, I like this shit. Come on.
Texas A&M Auburn 2 weeks ago. Okay.
Let's go.
And they're just a nightmare to play in a tournament setting. And even if they are an inefficient three-point shooting team, Wade Taylor can shoot that thing. Wiltshire can shoot that thing. Hefner can shoot that thing. I love Coach Buzz. And if you're going to beat a team like Auburn, you really got to bring your A game. But, man, seeing a team that – you know how annoying that is for Auburn to have to play Texas – you thought you were done playing Texas A&M.
Exactly.
You got to see them again? Give me the Aggies. And then Marquette's
got the cachet. They don't make the threes, but they do what, Christian? They get them up.
They get them up. And, you know, they play this in like Houston. They say, we're going to – there's a lot of teams that want to play a similar style, but it's like we're trying to win shot volume because we can control that. We can't control whether they're going to go in or not, but we can control the glass. We can control turnovers. So I respect –
Henry Coleman, very underrated on that team.
I think Marquette is a great matchup for Michigan State, which is why I have Marquette on this little run because, man, Michigan State has a lot of offensive possessions that just look a little gross.
Yeah.
Outside of Jace Richardson, it's just not that many guys who can create for themselves. Tom Izzo plays 10 guys. Some of them, I don't really know why he puts them in there. I think Marquette can trap, make things tough for Michigan State's bigs, control tempo, win the turnover battle. And, man, I think Shaka Smart makes up for a couple really good Marquette teams that didn't make it farther the last couple of years.
You're really re-solidifying my New Mexico over Michigan State because I can't wait to revisit my bracket. Okay, keep taking us through.
I got the same chalk here, 1, 4, 3, 2. I think all these teams are great. I would have any of these teams in my Final Four potentially in another region, but man, Florida, I just it's hard to go against Florida right now. They are, like I said, one of the best college basketball teams I can remember seeing. Other than like they remind me of UConn, and it's kind of like, what can you do? Well, what I'm seeing right now in Florida, it's like, what are you going to do?
It's all clicking right now. Did you have that feeling about them at the beginning of the year when the season first started?
I will say that I'm very proud of this. November 30th at 7:53 a.m., I put $20 on Florida to win the title at plus 6,000 odds because I liked what I saw. So
okay.
But I didn't think they were going to be the by far best team entering.
Hey, that's a good fucking call. I sure say I ain't putting no money on them to do that.
Then I got a little bit more chalk here: Duke, Oregon, Wisconsin, Bama. I think Alabama is a team that can beat Duke. To beat a defensive team as good as Duke, you got to be a really good offensive team. And Alabama, we know with their spacing and the amount of dudes they have, the amount of NBA players they have, they've been in this moment before. The guard play the bigs. I would love to see this as a basketball fan, and I think Alabama would be a great matchup there. And then down here, I'm going a little crazy.
You need Grant Nelson healthy, though.
Need Grant Nelson healthy. I went a little crazy down in the Midwest. Like I said, I didn't even like UCLA that much this season, but all of a sudden I look up and I think that they can beat Tennessee, and I'm not really believing in Kentucky right now. I think something crazy could happen here. Gonzaga is a team that can beat Houston. 100% they can beat Houston. But I'm saying this, Houston's my champion right now because I didn't want to pick Florida. But we're looking at the Elite Eight of 4-7, 1-2, 1-2, 1-7. Texas A&M, Marquette, Florida, St. John's, Duke, Bama, Houston, UCLA. Florida, Texas A&M, Alabama, Houston. I've got Houston as a team that, with Florida looking so unbeatable, I'm saying who can beat them? And a team like Houston who defensively can make life hell for them in a way that they just haven't seen yet. And Houston also lost to Alabama in overtime in November, which is why I have them over Bama. But this is my Monday bracket.
Could the Florida size be overwhelming for Houston? They give that up.
So what's so interesting, similar to Oklahoma City, watch how we all come full circle. Houston, right? They prioritize length over height, length and speed over height. JoJo Tugler and Juwan Roberts are 6'8", 6'9", but they're athletic monsters who work super. And Javier Francis, the other big. So they give up some in the size part of it. So like, Condon and these guys might have a little success on the post, but on the glass, I think Houston can compete with Florida. And you got guards that can get up in Florida's guards. And then Houston offensively, really good 3-point shooting team. They take care of the ball.
I love that about them this year. I can't remember how they shot it last year, but I like Uzan from Oklahoma.
He's been
Cryer from Baylor, and then it's one more I'm forgetting. Sharp, your boy Emmanuel Sharp. Right, where he had draft buzz like 4 years ago too. Then he got hurt or so. So I'm not mad at this at all. You're doing some good shit. Yeah, I can't wait to see what I'm gonna send you my Thursday bracket when I'm done. You talking me into thinking something at this Midwest region at the bottom of it, because I'm shaky on all of these teams. Kentucky I like, but they just haven't been the same since the beginning of the year. Illinois I'm not a fan of. Tennessee I like, but they're my weakest 2 seed. All of the 2 seeds can't make it, and then offensively, what they do. So UCLA isn't bad. You have to have one of those teams that it ain't a Cinderella. They come from a Power 5 conference, but they just have not had the hype because maybe they're in a conference with Florida and Alabama, and they take off. You know what I mean? So you might get a Mississippi State who has the experience but might not look good because they have to play these teams 6 or 7 times in a season. You might have a Missouri, or I don't know, a damn Wisconsin. Could Wisconsin beat Alabama?
100%.
Like, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I'm gonna let my heart guide the episode version of this. I'll let my mind and my heart and my gut decide my actual one. You see, I already got 2 printed up. I'm printing so many of these. And Thursday, I'll make sure that everybody knows my official real bracket, so I ain't on the timeline taking credit for multiple picks. Oh man, I told y'all High Point was gonna win. Let me find a bracket with High Point going far. Oh, here it is. Nah, we ain't doing that.
There's nothing worse than the guy who said, "Oh, I had that in my other bracket."
Oh, hey, we got to do another episode, Christian, when we talk about that shit. We shouldn't even said anything, and let's go find all of the people on Twitter talk about, oh man, my other bracket, my bracket for work. No, fuck that. It's one bracket. Damn it. You submit. You better. Yeah, I'm tired of hearing that shit. That's why people like us, we can't afford that luxury, because we have a platform and we put it out there, and that's that. So,
I just wanted to say, I don't know if it's just because I work for Enjoy Basketball now, but I feel like this year's college basketball season, I just enjoy so many teams this year. There are so many good teams, and I feel like usually I'm looking at some 2, 3, 4 seeds, and I'm like, I don't like them.
Name some that might not be able to go far, might have got a bad luck to draw.
What I'm saying. I think the top of the sport. I think there's just so many good teams. I feel like usually I'm kind of more of a hater, and now I'm like looking at so many teams and being like, and I'm more appreciating how good they are. Like I'm looking at a 10th seeded Arkansas team. I don't even know if we mentioned that Boogie Fland is back.
He might come back. Yeah.
And like, who says Arkansas couldn't get hot? Like there's teams like Baylor's got a bunch of NBA players, really good guards. Like
they do.
I don't know. There's so many teams. Like there's I don't know. I'm just saying I'm really appreciating the sport right now. And even though there's a lot with everything with NIL and transfer portal that is a negative, but in terms of just the basketball, in terms of it modernizing, the players getting better, more threes, the contrasting styles, there's just so much to love about the sport right now. And I think we're going to get some awesome action.
Hey, I feel the same way about the NBA playoffs. I think the NBA playoffs are about to be the best playoffs we've had in a very long time. So much unpredictability. We got a Timberwolves team that's at the bottom of the Western, not the dead last bottom, but they're at they're not one of the top teams out west that I'm looking at. They're just winning games. You have an Indiana Pacer team that I kind of feel like is not getting enough credit because of the top of the East. You focus on the Cavs and the Celtics so much that you forget a Pacers team is down there kind of doing anything. And it's not to say that these teams are going to win the championship or upset anybody, but there are so many good teams, and I feel the same way about the bracket. You just heard me say, I don't like Wisconsin, but Wisconsin is good enough to beat Alabama, my favorite team. VCU is really good, but BYU could beat their ass. Arizona is good. You got the Yales and the UC San Diegos, but then Michigan could also beat them. Texas A&M could beat Yale. You have them beating Yale. Iowa State with the injury is still solid. Marquette, Michigan State. St. John's is like Michigan State. St. John's ain't the best 3-point shooting team either. You know what I mean? But yeah, these top teams, it's just very hard for me to find significant flaws that I want to bet against. So it's every time I do one of these brackets, Auburn is staying consistently in the mix. Florida is standing in the mix. I would love to try to find a way to convince myself that UConn could beat Florida in the second round. I just can't. I would love, these days, unlike 20 years ago, when I made my bracket, Duke was going all the way. I was a JJ Redick guy. These days, I'm not that much of a Dookie. I would love to find a way that they could lose before Alabama, but I don't know, man. This is just an incredible time right now. This is going to be so much fun. I can't wait to sit and be glued to this and watch this all day. Make sure also, all my people that watch, make sure you tap in for the first days. That's when you got this shit going on all day. You wake up at 10, 11, the games are starting, and they going all the way till 9, 10 o'clock at night. Because once the first couple of days go by, then we got to wait till the evening for game. It's nothing like having the games on all damn day. And again, like I said, because of the transfer portal, because of NIL, watch out for somebody on High Point. Watch out for somebody on Utah State or Wofford or Omaha, because they might transfer to fucking Missouri next year, for all you know. And then you could be like Christian. Remember that guy that played for Grand Canyon and the lefty that shot 2.7 threes? Yeah, he's now the go-to guy on Michigan State. And then it's like, oh, because that's how Christian get me. Christian be like, remember that guy from 4 years ago that played? And I'd be like, fuck no, I don't remember. I might have to see a picture. Then you see a picture like, oh, that's Shahada Wells. Shahada Wells played for fucking Alabama now? Hey, if Shahada Wells played in a time we could have transferred, he'd probably be an Alabama guard for Nate Oates. I'm telling you.
You know where he was before McNeese? No?
I do, but I forgot.
He was on
Don't tell me.
And he was a bucket, but they didn't play.
He was on where?
TCU.
He was on TCU.
They didn't give him a
but you remember they had Miles Mike.
Yeah, Mike Miles.
Or Mike Miles. So, I mean, you know. And they had wasn't Micah Peavy on his team? On that team?
And Eddie Lampkin.
So they had no room for him. Yeah, Lampkin, and then Lampkin went from there to Colorado. Where's Lampkin these days? I just seen him. Syracuse. Oh, with Donnie Freeman, and yeah. I think they coach might get fired too. That's another thing, transferring. Some of these coaches are probably going to. It's some big vacancies. Indiana, NC State. They're saying Will Wade is meeting with NC State, who is now with McNeese. Some of these coaches may be moving around too. Hey, another incredible episode to tee it up. The March Madness tourney bracket episode. We are locked in all March. Hopefully we can keep this NBA related for the next foreseeable weeks. But I'm telling you, it's going to be a lot of college basketball talk on this show. We'll see y'all next episode. We out. Peace.